least I was filming when that happened.
Hey, I'm Paul Aston from AstonMTB. This is my custom-made, one-off, old man dirt jump bike. So those of you that are following my channel or new to my channel, most of the bikes on there at the moment have been bikes that I've bought. Brands aren't giving me any money. Independent reviews, buy them, review them, you get all content for free, and it's funded by people buying competition tickets or making donations through Coffee or Linktree. Go to the link in the description below, you can go to my website and you can win whichever bikes or products are currently being raffled. So I've had this bike now for about 4 years and it's finally been built. It's been a long process, mostly because my life's been in chaos and I've been moving house and all different random problems, but it's finally alive. And the first ride this morning at the dry pump track was great, been really good so far. Really happy with it. Second pump track we got here and it's raining and it's all muddy, so you've just got me talking, not riding. Why is it an old man dirt jump bike? I'm a tall guy, just over 6 foot, I've got really long arms. I spent all of my youth riding BMX on tiny little bikes and destroying my lower back. I can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head because it's been so long since I designed this. I think a 470 reach, which I'm pretty sure is the longest dirt jump bike in the world. It's got an extra tall head tube to get the front up. It's slightly slacker. On paper it's 67 degrees. And we also made the chainstay proportionally longer, similar to the front. I don't believe you should keep making the front end of bikes bigger and leave the rear end the same. It just doesn't make sense to me. So we also extended the chainstay, which I think is 440. Big, long, easy, slack bike. I'm pretty light, but generally the taller people are, heavier they are, so we just gone for straight gauge tubing. It's pretty heavy, but solid, chunky. This would be fine for anyone up to 120 kilos, I guess, casing jumps like me. The main feature of it is I wanted the back end to be a bit more forgiving. I had a few alloy dirt jump bikes in the past, and I've also rode alloy BMX race bikes and carbon BMX race bikes. Always found them to be horribly stiff and harsh, which is what you want if you're an Olympic BMX racer and you need every single extra second of speed. But if you're just some guy going to the pump track and doing a few laps with your kids or hitting a few dirt jumps and casing them all the time, that's not what you need. You want something a bit more forgiving, more comfortable, just more fun to ride really. The first feature is this seat stay brace. Now normally these are like tubes or much bigger hydro formed pieces of alloy or CNC machined blocks or yokes which are super stiff. I wanted this one to be a bit more flexy, so it's a pretty thick piece of steel, but it should allow some bend when you land on the back wheel. And in conjunction with that flat piece of steel, there's no added bridge between the seat stays, which brands would normally add for more stiffness. The idea here was the steel plate could flex this way and let the back wheel come up slightly, and at the same time the seat stays should flex outwards slightly, and that's why there's no bridge and why they're attached on the side of the seat tube. And it works, it feels really solid. Casing some jumps, which I did today, it just takes a little sting out and takes that like harsh initial impact edge of the bump, which really transfers the shock into your body, where yeah, it's just a little bit smoother, a little bit more forgiving. Just feels more like a steel BMX rather than a super harsh alloy 4-cross frame. All my other builds have been independent. This one, I paid for the frame and a few of the parts, but brands I was working with previously, Trollby, SQ Lab, Hope and Manitou, sent me all these products for free a couple of years ago, just to make sure we're being honest and truthful about everything. So I chose the Manitou Circus fork, which has adjustable travel. It's 130 at the moment. Definitely a bit too high. Not the handlebar height, but the head tube height. And if your head tube is too high, and it can get too slack and it gets a bit vague when you're turning, and it's hard to get your weight over the front wheel, so we're going to drop the fork travel to 110 to move weight forward, make it easier to get the weight on the front wheel, and then lift the handlebars up to start with 10mm. So the handlebar is going to drop 10mm, but the front end, the head tube, is going to drop 20mm, which should make a really big difference to the weight balance to get the weight on the front wheel for going around berms at the pump track. If it was an enduro downhill bike, it's generally better to get the front higher and higher because it makes it easier to go down steep stuff. but this bike is riding essentially on the flat all the time. You need a more balanced bike front and rear. Yeah, SQ Lab parts, 75mm rise, Fabio Widmer handlebar. Handlebar seems great, no problems with that. The grips, I do like these grips, but they're a bit hard and rough for my soft computer hands now that I don't ride so much. Another SQ Lab part, the Fabio Widmer saddle, that's nice. It's a tripod design, clips on, and then has one bolt to secure it. My only problem with the SQ Lab stuff really is the 35mm stem. I'm a big fan of a 35mm stem for mountain biking, enduro, downhill, just for the sensitive steering when you have a very slack head angle. This bike's got a much steeper head angle than those bikes, and it's quite a little bit too twitchy maybe. I'm desperate for 35mm stems always for the mountain bikes, so we'll chuck that on one of the other bikes, put a 50mm stem on the front. Again, that might help just get a bit more weight over the front and balance the bike front to rear a little bit better. Now, I'm not really a fan of suspension forks on dirt jump bikes because I grew up riding BMX, and the feeling of the fork moving into the travel when you're going up takeoffs or up transitions, I don't really like that feeling. I've had a few RockShox Pike DJ forks, and however much compression you wind on, however hard you pump it up, it always seems to just blow through the first bit of travel and then get really stiff. It's like really stiff, but you hit the transition, you'll like drop through the travel a little bit and then stiffen up, and it just always feels a bit, it's just not as smooth on the takeoffs. I just don't really like the feeling. But this fork, we've pumped it up really hard, closed all the compression. It does have a little bit of give, but it doesn't have that, I don't know how to describe it, hollow feeling when it gets pushed into the travel. So the fork feels really nice. We'll test it out at some bigger jumps in the future, hopefully La Poma. The Hope parts are all nice. Hope brake lever, the braided hose, long enough to do some bar spins if I could still do bar spins. Hope cranks, solid. Hub sounds lovely. I'm probably going to take the grease out of that and just oil it just to make it a bit louder. Maybe try and bend the pawls a little bit just for the extra loud clicking noise when you're cruising through the trails in the summer, which I like. And a disc brake. It's great having a disc brake after a lifetime of U brakes and V brakes on BMXs. Solid feeling, much more sensitive, much easier to feather when you're manualing through whoops. And this one's got the nice road spec disc with the chamfered rounded edge to the disc. The bike just feels solid. The Hope parts feel nice, crisp. Yeah, fantastic, loving it. Probably one of the bikes that I'm most excited about this year so far. We're just excited to finally get on it. Really excited to get it to some big dirt jumps and see if my theory of having a nice flexible back end is going to help me casing some big jumps. So yeah, just loving this bike so far. We've only done a little bit of riding because of the weather conditions. Feels great. I've never felt so comfortable and upright on a dirt jump or a BMX bike. Really happy to go and get it on some bigger jumps soon and some bigger pump tracks, hopefully in the sun. Thanks very much. Go to my website, go to my Instagram, check out the rest of the YouTube channel. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff, and really just trying to push these independent reviews to get the most out of these bikes and really give them a thorough testing, as well as giving you guys as much information and knowledge as we can to help set up your own bikes or troubleshoot problems that you have. This bike will be getting raffled off at some point. I need to keep it for about a year really and get some use out of it, but I have already got an idea for my next project. After a few laps around the pump track, I had a new idea, so maybe in 6 months time, a year's time, this will be raffled off and you'll be able to win it exactly like this with all the good stuff. That's it. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, go and check the other stuff out, and thanks to everyone for the support so far. It's been fantastic. Feedback from viewers, positive comments. Yeah, more than happy with the project so far. Thanks everyone, thanks very much. See you next time. Another SQ Lab part, the pivotal saddle. I really like the BMX pivotal system. It's a tripod.